Hello, Christy.
Hi, Jerry. Good morning. How are
Good
you living
morning.
your best life today?
Oh, I am living my best life and in so many different ways that it can only be summarized in what I'm about to show everybody when it comes to making something delicious. I am definitely living my best life because I've discovered something simple, beautiful, and tasty. And I'm
Excellent.
talking about kombucha.
Kombucha. Okay, tell me about it. All I know is I never told you this story, but a dear friend of mine, when I performed in Hamburg, Germany, was making a kombucha tea. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly.
Okay.
And he was one of my castmates, and so he invited a bunch of us over to his house to try it, but it wasn't ready yet. He just said, "I want you to see what you're going to be trying later," and it was this huge mushroom about this big
Right.
and it was covered in a bowl and put in a dark place. So I don't know, what kind of, is it called a kombucha mushroom?
It's
Is
see
that
right
it?
there. You see how there's a little jar over there, and you see how there looks like there's something in the bottom there. That's
Yes.
what you're referring to. That is a mushroom called a scoby.
A
Okay,
s-
and
Like,
I am losing my mind the fact that I created this from tea and sugar. That's
wow.
all kombucha is. It's tea and sugar. Okay, so let me break this down for you. All right.
Okay.
So this stuff apparently has been made. The country responsible for figuring this out is China, apparently.
Okay.
This is a fermentation process where
Okay.
what happens, we're going to start from scratch today, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to have delicious kombucha from scratch. As I've been making this, I can't believe how tasty this is, how easy
Okay.
this is. I used to think people over in all of history did not have access to water, so they had to drink alcohol. And when I make kombucha, I'm like, you know history much better than I do. You teach a lot of it. So I didn't know anything about kombucha in history, but there's got to have been a bunch of cultures all across the globe that have been utilizing kombucha for health, gut, water, hydration. You know?
I think so. And it's amazing how in our own culture and in this generation, kombucha has become so popular. They, share it with different flavors now, with different companies. I know my nieces and nephews and my own girls, they drink a lot of it, but it's pre-made and, probably at a factory. And it's not like what you're doing, which is a homemade version. So you have to tell us all about it. I love learning about the history of it. I love learning about what's actually happening, and I can't wait to figure out how does that mushroom grow and where did you get the spores
Oh,
for it?
I can't, I'm just like, is it that simple? But that's the thing, I want people here to be watching to understand it. I want the understanding to be there because, first of all this is just fermented tea, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So it originated in China because they're the ones that originated. That's where the tea game
Right.
is the best, the old
Right.
school stuff. So, they were able to figure this out. And what happens is, so there is a living organism. Kombucha is a living organism,
Right.
right? So what happens is there's this culture they create, right? There's only three ingredients: tea, sugar, and starting kombucha. You got those things, you can make kombucha, which is so perfect because it's just growing, it's fermenting. And do you know what the name of today's episode is, Christy? Can you tell the people what the name of
Yes.
today's episode is?
Today's episode is going to be growth.
And
And
what a perfect topic
right?
for kombucha.
Exactly. Right.
So,
Perfect topic.
perfect topic. So as I try to get headphones that were longer, so I couldn't. So we're gonna try to figure this out. But so I'm gonna show you what I did. So I took 16 cups of water, right?
Okay.
Literally took a 1 cup thing and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I took 8 tea bags. And I'm gonna try to carry this without having this thing fall out of my ear
Okay.
with success.
Now, what
Excellent.
kind of tea are you using? Just a black tea, pico
You know what?
tea?
I use orange pico because I was raised on a little bit of orange pico with a little
Right.
with lemon and sugar. Amazing.
Yeah.
But
I love
I've grown to find out as my girlfriend has showed me what green tea is, what like actual green, beautiful tea is. Like
Right.
orange pico is garbage apparently, from what I've looked. It's like the crappiest part of the tea leaf. You want real tea, right? Let me show you this green tea action right here.
Beautiful. Look at
I
that.
mean, that is, literally when you put that in hot water, it starts expanding and blossoming. And
Right.
I mean, that's real stuff. You take this, you put a little honey with a little bit of green tea. Whew,
Oh,
I got to tell you, Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. So we're looking at, so all we did here is we have a pan, as you can see that tea action still steaming,
Okay.
right?
Right.
There's 8 bags of orange pico tea. So,
Okay.
I always buy tea at a bulk barn and then I drink it and I'm like, this is garbage tea and now I can get rid of it. We've all been there before. We've all been there before, how do you know what taste? So we're gonna take these tea bags out real quick, right? And Christy, why don't you tell us a little bit about, as I'm doing this, about how you've grown during the time that we've met, because I got to tell you, when we first met, we were making visual boards in the early rise of the morning, and so much things have happened. I'd love to hear about how you've grown and how we've grown as BLT Living,
Right, and how we met. We always try to share this little story. We were working with Melanie Moore, who is an EFT practitioner, and so we both joined a prosperity party, and it was $12 for 5 days, and we were going to do all these exercises, right, to learn how to make a vision board and why you make a vision board, and to do space clearing and decluttering exercises, and just be there to support each other and learn that you can work together in a group of like a mastermind type group of 2 or 3 or more people in the spirit of harmony and with a common goal, and to support each other. So Melanie was so awesome. She made us go through a decluttering exercise where each one of us could maybe declutter a room, a closet, a drawer. I took the biggest drawer in my dining room credenza, which is about 6 feet wide, and went to IKEA. Yeah, I put a liner in the bottom, and I got these little trays from IKEA, and would you believe it's been over a year now, and that drawer is still organized and clean.
No.
Family, and we have a sort of chaotic family life. I have a husband, 2 giant dogs, and 2 beautiful daughters, and we still have been able to manage keeping that drawer organized and clean, shockingly, because every other drawer probably needs to be decluttered at this point, and closet.
Yeah.
Well, but it really sets the tone for when you have an organized space, or when you clean things out, you clear things out, and you make room for new things, right? And so the second exercise...
That's the growth mindset right there. That's the growth mindset.
Growth mindset. And so then what you do is you basically when you're creating space, you want to also go, what do I want to make space, what am I making space for in my life, right?
Right,
so
right.
Pillars in your life. You might want a new relationship or an amazing relationship. You might want a new job or an amazing job, or build the job that you're already in, or a business that you're in. It could be your health, increase your health and wellness. It could just be things like abundance, prosperity, right? There are these, your environment, maybe you want a bigger house or a bigger condo or some land, things like that. So you basically are sort of creating your, what I call a wish list, or your dream list of things that you want in your life. And the next step was to create a vision board, right?
Right.
Mine right here, and you can do it by printing pictures, or drawing things, or cutting out things from a magazine, or anything, and you put it on a board. And you can even do it in Canva. I know that some of Melanie's people are putting these visions of where they want to be in their lives on a Canva board, which is it's digital, not just physical board. My board is physical, and I think yours was as well.
Yes.
And so over the year, she actually put us in an accountability group, and that's a wonderful aspect of a mastermind group. It's the next step, where you're put into a group of 2, 3, 4, or more people, right? I just mentioned it earlier, in the spirit of harmony with a common goal, and you support each other. And every week you try to meet, and you and I worked with one of our resources is Trello.com.
Woo!
Right?
Trello.
So introduced our accountability group to that app, and it's amazing. And what we would do is every week we would put our own little card on there and put maybe 1, 2, or 3 tasks that we would like to do. And with each task, you would try to check one off during the week. And because it's an accountability group and support group, if you didn't get that task completed, we would just move it to the next week with love and support, and ask how we could help that person get that task done for the next week, or if they needed help, or if they just needed time, right?
Absolutely.
right? And so it was such a positive experience for me, and I'm hoping for you as well, Jerry, because
Absolutely.
not
Look what we're doing right now. I mean,
doing
we're
right now. Exactly. One of my goals was to finish a CD that I started over 20 years ago. And every week I put a task on the list. And every week I tried to get a little bit closer to my goal. And Jerry and one of our friends, Jan, helped to support me through that. And by, I would say, November of this year, everything was pretty much ready to go. And we started dropping songs for my CD to be released in October, dropping songs in April. So
wow. Yeah.
we've come a long way. And I know with Jerry, tell us about your
Well,
businesses.
things have been growing. Like, it's really like, I remember when I joined the Melanie Moore's, I was at a place where I'm just trying to figure out things with my business, and then it's like, well, and then Melanie Moore's like, the first thing you should do is clean your house. And I'm like, listen, like, I need a business strategy. Show me Facebook ads. Like, I need lead generation. What are you talking? And then, but it's like, here's the thing, right? Like, I remember like cleaning the front of my door, welcoming money, and I'm like, well, I'm completely losing it at this point, But at the same time, it's like, as I started cleaning and I started making space, right? I cleaned the drawers where I had like the financial stuff that I had. And I got to tell you, Christy, receipts, there's like papers there, a dead hamster, kombucha water. I'm like, I'm like, that's why the finances are the way that they are. You're like, clean it up. And it's like, I'm really happy that you had a situation where you actually had a drawer and you like, it's still there, because like, you got to declutter the mind. And when I started doing that physically, and I started doing that digitally, you look at somebody's phone, there's 1,000 apps, like, buddy, there's my Canadian coming out. But let's get back to kombucha and growth, because, here's the thing, right? We're going to add the most important ingredient right here, sugar. This is organic sugar cane sugar. Yeah. So we're just gonna add this in, and all we gotta do is I'm literally just gonna pour it in, and I'm gonna steam it, but I'm gonna try to lift this up and pour it in, because let's see if I can.
Wow.
Nope, that's gonna burn me. So we're not gonna do that. So I'm just gonna pour the sugar. Listen, I'm not willing to burn myself for TikTok and the clips. Not yet. So
Not yet.
we're gonna take the sugar. We're gonna pour it in, and all we need to do is we need to kind of dissolve it, But just going back to that aspect of making space, right? Like, growth is a core value in my company, and things have grown with what we're doing with events and our community, but also when it comes to just making sure we hire the right people and put them in the right seats, and when you look at your core values, I mean, your core values, it's like they're discovered by your leadership team, eh? Right. So, when you have people that are just coming through every week, when you have folks that are just going beyond the call of duty, and you're like, man, I can't let these people go. This is something special here, right? You want to find out what is that essence? What is that word? We have our core values are things like culture driver, working healthy, impact and service, growth, right? And part of me doing kombucha, frankly, Christy, is just to be able to embrace that experience of growth, being able to understand how I can help the people that are giving their time, the most valuable asset to us. How can we empower them to grow, to transform, And when I look at this kombucha thing, right, I mean, it's just so, sugar is like the devil in the past. As I was growing up, it's like sugar is the worst, I mean, even Coca-Cola is like, we have Coke Zero. Listen, right. If you do something wrong, do it right, Just drink that Coca-Cola with some ice. But the thing is, look at this kombucha, right? Like, I'm just mixing tea and the sugar, and well, that's where the sound was coming from. I think the grind was it? Did you hit? Yeah. I'm like, what is this annoying sound about? So what's exciting here? Let me tell you what's going on here. This is the science of fermentation. So the bacteria and the yeast that I'm going to pour into this little mixture. So what I can do is when this cools down, and it's important for it to cool down because the heat is going to kill the goodness, all the bacteria. Just like when I said you can put some honey in your green tea, you can, but you're killing the enzymes in that honey. So, it's like you got to pick your poison, I guess is what I'm saying. But still, so delicious that maybe it's worth killing the enzymes. But, you take this for kombucha. This is just, I bought kombucha at Starbucks. Look, it says organic, peach and mango. The fact that people sell kombucha at stores, I can't even, after making this and seeing how easy it is, This is such a waste of. I mean, truly. So when this cools and the sugar dissolves, we're gonna put that kombucha in there, and what's gonna happen is that the bacteria and the yeast in this little bad boy right here is going to break down the sugars. It's gonna eat the sugar, and you know what happens when it eats the sugar? It makes a scoby. Look at this mushroom. You see this little mushroom guy right here?
Yes.
So
Yes.
this has been, so what I did is literally imagine that before this, it was simply this and, water, sugar. I could use white sugar, orange pico tea, and then this thing right here, and then it turned into this.
That's incredible. Wow.
Isn't that cool?
Yes.
I was trying to relate what you were saying to like growth and like connecting yeast and bacteria,
Right.
but it's like, well, I mean, there is going to be a nice little metaphor here because I just find this so beautiful, and I want people to watch this to just understand the simplicity of it, because all we're doing is we're going through this process. I can't mix the kombucha in right now because it's too hot.
Right. That's
It's got to
okay.
cool down.
You know what I'd like to add to that? I mean,
Please.
you and I over time have talked about baby steps, right? And being patient and finding patience within our own selves to know. I think our generations, I mean, you and I have a huge generational gap, but I think just human nature in general, we always want things, especially in this generation right now, current younger generations, we want things yesterday or done yesterday, right? And we want to have things, so quickly. But sometimes the things that are best to wait for would be the ones that have taken a little bit more time to grow, right? A little bit more time to the baby steps to nurture and to just take time to watch the growth and then maybe support the growth. Right?
Yeah.
And that can be in anything in your life. It can be in friendships. It can be in raising your children. It can be in building a business, right? Just taking those baby steps and nurturing and observing, being patient, waiting for the, things to grow, just like your garden, and now just like your kombucha. I think it's just really important that we find patience through that growth, right? And through the baby steps. And those are just,
I love that.
those are sometimes hard lessons, right? Because we want things yesterday. We might jump into a relationship or jump into a job that may not necessarily be the right fit for us, but oh my goodness, the salary's so good, right? But then 3, 4 years, 10 years down the road, you go, oh my goodness, what did I do? I'm so unhappy, right? So maybe taking the time, taking the deep breath. How's it smell? Is it good?
I love my orange pico. It's amazing,
I do too.
And it's nice and sweet. I almost just want to put lemons in there and just drink all the tea and get all that caffeine in there.
I'm a girl from the South, so we all drink sweet tea all the time. Now it's half sweet,
right.
half unsweet, and then add some lemon, and it's perfect. And
I
lots of
got to tell you, in 1997, when we were coming, we were trying to figure out what country to come. I mean, can you imagine I just went to Texas or somewhere south where you can really be patient, slow
Right.
down. I mean, something
You
like
have to
stillness. You have to be. I heard this one guy named Richard Rudd that I mentioned a bunch of times before, and he wrote the Gene Keys, and he says he's quoting a Hungarian mystic, and it's like, patience is the vanguard of love. And I remember I'm like, oh, that's really deep, and I still don't understand what that means, but it
Right.
seems it seems relevant to this conversation. But patience, right? Like the thing about kombucha is like you set it and forget it. You put it in the dark and you just observe. You're patient with it. Because let me tell you the next step, right? So what we do is, I wish I could actually do this right now, but unfortunately the tea is just a little too spicy hot. So we take a little jug right here, right? And then we're gonna put the kombucha when it's nice and cool. Excuse me, when the tea with the sugar is nice and cool, we're gonna pour it in here, right?
Okay.
I'm gonna take this bad boy and stick it in here.
Okay.
Now the only reason I bought this is to show you guys, because I don't need to buy any more kombucha anymore. I got my scoby, right?
Scoopy, I love it.
My scoby, okay?
Okay.
Because what's going on here is that if I just need to take about 500 milliliters and this scoby and pour it into our friend over here. Okay, I'm in a dangerous situation here.
Be careful.
Yeah, not as strong as I thought it was. So we take the SCOBY and about 500 milliliters of water. We pour that in there. And then we just fill it up with the tea. And I don't need to spend $4 or $5 on garbage kombucha. Forgive me for Rise. We may want you as a sponsor soon. And I just want to say, I love the brand. And if you're willing to support this podcast, send us a DM, right? Or if you want to make kombucha, send us a DM, because the whole part of this is for you guys to actually take part in this and join it. And then when you finish, just the last step is that you take a coffee filter, you put it on top like this, because it's got to breathe. The kombucha has to ferment, right? So you got to put this thing on top of it, use a little elastic band that I swear was here, but it's no longer there. And you just put it on top, and you just wait 7 to 14 days.
Okay.
You grab a straw. You hold it in with the top. You put it in. And then you take it off. Then you hold it back in. You go, and you're like,
and you taste it. It's amazing.
It's tasty, right?
Wow.
So these are the secrets of kombucha, and it's just 3 ingredients, folks. I mean, the simplicity here is everything.
What would your secret ingredient be? Would it be the sugar, the organic sugar, or do you think it would be the Rise kombucha, or do you think?
I'm gonna say it's the SCOBY. Because the thing is, like, I finally understand the beauty of being a mother and creating something from, because this is like this is a mush. Like you Google SCOBY, it's just this mushroom thing, right? So I'd say the secret ingredient is the SCOBY one, because this is a way for you to just have an amazing little brew for your gut that is fermented. It has all these health benefits.
When you look at different cultures, I teach about cultures and food sometimes always comes out, because my students will say, back when I used to meet students in person before COVID, they would say, can we just have a cultural day? We're studying this culture. Can we, try to figure out what food, what their food culture is, and can we bring that, make something and bring it to class? And I'd say absolutely, right? But, what I see in a lot of cultures, and that is sort of a golden thread that runs through every culture, is the process or foods that are fermented, that I think are, because maybe there were refrigeration issues at some point earlier before electricity and ice, so they had to find ways to preserve food. But also, I think in preserving food, there were the benefits of the fermentation in the gut, like you were just mentioning. So, I mean, I think about it in the Japanese culture, you might have the pickled ginger and the pickled, like daikon and pickled mushrooms, things like that. In the maybe European cultures, you would have the sauerkrauts, right? And let's see, what's another culture? In our culture,
in my, go ahead, please.
No, I was going to say, in my culture, you have an anchar, and I think that's also in the Indian culture. My mom, my mom and dad are from the Philippines, and so my mom, always told us about the anchar being sort of a fermented, pickled dish to support, or be an accompaniment to dinner or lunch. They use that also in Indian food. You have a lot of the pickled things, and the anchar is a little spicy, and they use mustard in theirs, mustard seeds and things. But you were going to say in your culture, go ahead.
In my culture, so I grew up like, when I came here when I was 7, so there's only so much Eastern European culture that I can have. But my father drank something called kvass, Kvass, and it's a fermented cereal bread-based low-alcohol beverage with a slightly cloudy appearance. It tastes like a non-alcoholic beer. It's weird, right? But at the same time, that's it's like, if you look at every culture, somebody's figured out that everything can ferment. Vinegar, fermented beer. I'm a big fan of. There's a book called help me out here, come on, I can't remember it, but essentially it's a guy that went back to the ancient scrolls of Christianity, right? And essentially when there's certain scholars that look at Christianity and look back to the pagan religions, and some say it's like That if you look back at culture, if you look at the Greek culture, that they started fermenting beverages and experimenting with ergot, which is like a hallucinogenic kind of thing. So if you want to learn history and you want to learn culture, look at the things they drink and eat. Because when it comes to fermentation, it's like everything can be fermented. Like everything grown can be fermented. I mean, why do you think they call them spirits? There's a reason behind that. But let me tell you, there's one more thing that we have to add, because here's the thing. Like, I taste this kombucha and it's like, it's kombucha, right? It's a little sour, right? But it's still kind of like, whoa. And now I'm as a 35-year-old male, I can take these things and I can appreciate, and I can geek out on this kind of stuff as like a SCOBY and whatever. But as a kid, I'd be like, Mom, give me an iced tea, please. Like, come on.
Right.
Can we cool it with your mushroom and this? Well, I mean, I remember being this dismissive like 11, 12 years ago, and now I'm so excited. So, but there is an extra step that you can add that I want to show the people, because the kombucha is great, but if you want to take your growth to the next level, all right. I'm going to show you what to do. So we picked this apple as we were walking in Toronto by the waterfront, and there's this beautiful apple tree, I will never tell the location of as long as I live. And we walk by the water, we go to the apple tree, we eat an apple. It's a fairy tale. I'm not letting it. So we picked this apple.
Life every day, right?
Okay, I need a ring. We need a bell. We need like
we need a bell. Yeah.
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We take this apple, we're going to chop it up. Okay, so this has been already washed. So I'm just going to chop it up real quick. And I'm going to take off all the bad parts on the inside. And essentially what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking this apple and I'm going to be putting it in this little mason jar.
Okay.
All right? And as I do this, I'm going to try to think about how we talk about growth, because I got to kill like 3 minutes. And... So, but there's something about growth and mushrooms that I absolutely love, because we did an episode on flow, right, and letting go, and it's like when you look at like something like mushrooms, you go to the store to buy shiitake mushrooms, to buy oyster mushrooms, to buy portobello mushrooms, you're spending all this money. It's like, if people knew how to grow mushrooms, nobody would ever spend money. I mean, it's just... and that's something that we're going to show you guys, but I knew that kombucha was kind of a mushroom situation, but I didn't really understand it. Right. And now that I found out how easy this was, it's like, the thing about growth is that when something works, stick to it. Exactly. And just keep on doing that process that is making you better, faster. Change is going to happen. Everybody changes, right? But if you can grow, and how do you grow? Man, it's so much. It's not about taking YouTube course to go to university. It's about, just letting it flow. Right. Aligning with what the right path is.
It's taking kind of it like what we do here, with I mean, who knew that you and I would be cooking, right? And you were talking about, sharing sort of our experience. This is for the audience members who have not watched our podcast before, but basically what Jerry and I figured would be a wonderful way to teach accountability would be to be accountable to each other. So basically, we created a weekly accountability food challenge. So what you'll see on our Facebook and Instagram pages will be who's in the kitchen hot seat this week.
That's right.
So of course, Jerry's in the kitchen hot seat this week, making kombucha, sharing the history of kombucha, and now sharing his what is making his kombucha go over the top, right? Okay. And apparently it's with this beautiful apple. And then basically every week, one of us is in the hot seat. So next week, I'll be in the hot seat, but I will be on vacation out of the country. And so I'm going to try to figure out a way to be creative and share the food that I'm eating in the location, wherever it is I'm going to be next Friday. I have no idea yet. So we'll figure it out, and it'll be a surprise, and it'll be part of my Kitchen Hot Seat Accountability Food Challenge next week. So
I can't wait.
There.
Okay, so I cut in the apples. As you can see, the apple has been cut.
Beautiful. Okay.
And then all you do is you put this apple in the mason jar.
Okay.
And then you got to have some pieces fall on the keyboard, otherwise you're not doing it. And then you take this kombucha, and I have this beautiful little nozzle, and I'm gonna pour it in.
Okay.
And as you can see, I'm just having a little bit of kombucha pouring action right here. Let me show you what's going on here.
That's so awesome.
And we're just gonna fill this up all the way to the top. And here's what's gonna happen, right? we're gonna close this. We're gonna close this mason jar with whatever the lid is. Wherever the lid is, and it's on the floor. Makes sense. So what we're gonna do is after it's filled up to the top, we're going to put the lid there and close it up.
Okay.
Every day you gotta open up the lid. You gotta burp the kombucha.
Burp it.
Right, because the only reason.
Just
That's
like
right. Just like a baby. The baby steps. Christy, it's all connecting.
Baby steps, right.
Okay. So the reason is because what you want is that now you have beautiful kombucha. It's fermented. It's gorgeous. There's live bacteria. You're connecting with the all. I mean, it's great, right? But what you need to do is you need to do this step. And then I'm not going to take it off the ground and close it up because it's dirty.
Right.
But what happens now when you close it and you tighten it up, the apples, there's sugar in the apples, right? So they get fermented. And what you get is carbonation. And the carbonation now makes you have this is all this is. This is kombucha, but it's carbonated, right?
Okay.
And the way they got the carbonation is they put a live organism. So this is like the second step towards kombucha. If you're doing this, you're an expert level, right? Because you already have kombucha for the rest of your life, right? This I could just add more tea in there and I will never have to buy kombucha again. But this is what you cover this up, right? You put this out there and you do it for 1 to 3 days. 1, 2, or 3 days, you taste it, and then you pour this stuff over some ice.
Wow.
I mean, forget about cider and beer, frankly. Like, it's just so good and you made it. And you can have an apple. So it's a really fun treat. And we're going a little bit over our time, but that's kombucha for you folks. Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, thank you so much, Jerry. This is fantastic. I'm so excited. I can't wait to try it, and can't wait to. You're going to post the recipe on Facebook and Instagram, and then
That's correct.
We'll be able to, try it. And I guess if you have any questions, because I might have questions, you can DM us, and we'll ask Jerry and to maybe break something down if we have any questions making the kombucha. Does that sound good? And
That sounds like a plan.
I'm really excited. I will be traveling next week, but I will be with you all hopefully online. I'll try to figure that out next week overseas, and it will be my week to be in the hot seat for the Kitchen Food Accountability Challenge. So I don't know if mine's going to be as exciting as Jerry's kombucha because that was amazing, and I mean that's really scientific, right? And we had no idea. Everybody just goes to the store and grabs that bottle, at the store or at Starbucks or wherever. But, I mean, you just showed a beautiful version of how to make it in a pure and simple way. And I can't wait to try it. And I might even try it this weekend. But the problem is I'm leaving, so I have to wait till I come back from vacation.
I mean, it's going to be some strong kombucha if you wait that long.
I'll wait a week.
Thank you so much for everybody for tuning in. We're so excited to see you guys make your own kombucha, and I hope that everybody is not only going to have an amazing weekend, but you're also living your best life today.
Yes, today and every single day. And Jerry, thank you so much for being an amazing partner through this. And I'm looking forward I'm hoping you have an incredible weekend as well, and everyone else. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next Friday and everyone here at BLT Living. Have a great weekend and live your best life.
Bye. Yes.
Bye.
Bye.